the starting point for a lot of people when they're considering moving abroad is, how do I get a job abroad, like in the local economy? And 9 times out of 10, depending on the country you're going to, you're not going to want a job in the local economy. You're just
Hello, Black women friends. We're talking about how to get a job abroad. We're going to talk about who this is an easier process for, who this is a harder process for, who this is unrealistic for, but don't click off, because even those of you for whom we're about to tell you it's unrealistic to look for a job abroad, we're going to give you some amazing alternatives, some resources that you're not going to want to miss out. So make sure that you stick around for this whole video. But first, let's introduce ourselves.
Hi, I am Rashida Dow. I am a career break coach, a move abroad expert. I am a woman who has lived in Mexico City for the past 5 years, and I am your co-founder of ExodUS Summit.
I am the other co-founder of ExodUS Summit. My name is Stephanie Perry. I'm a house sitter, creator of House Sitter School, and I also am a person who has run like a virtual assistant business so that I could live abroad. But first, okay, let's get into it. Let's talk about how you can get a job abroad, okay? All right, we said we were going to start off with the groups of people who we know inside of our community and out in the world who do find success in leaving the United States or UK or Canada and getting a job in another country. Who's that first category, Rashida?
First category are people who already do or can work for their government in a foreign role. So could you work at an embassy? Do you work at an embassy? You know what? Are you in the military? Right? All of those are people who can work abroad if told, right? And that is the I would say the number one group of people that I see working abroad are people who are in those categories.
That's right. The second category, I think, of people who can work abroad, who can actually get on the computer and get a job in another country, is teachers. People who are already teachers. If you're a teacher in the United States, there are international schools all over the world who could hire you or would hire you to teach in another country. Teachers sometimes find these jobs through fairs, through like teacher international school job fairs. But if you're tired of teaching and you want to find a job abroad, this is not the easiest thing to do. I know a lot of teachers are burnt out and not interested in continuing to teach. And so finding a job in another country is probably not the question you should be asking. So stick around with us. So, okay, so Rashida, is there another group of people who seem to find success getting a job abroad?
Funny you should ask. I was doing some research this week about visas, getting visas abroad. And in one of the countries I looked at, it was amazing how vague they were about who can get visas for like skills reasons. So the country said, if you have skills that are highly sought after, not only can you can get a job, but you can come live here, right? With or without a job. With or without a job, if you have a skill that is in high demand, you can come live here. Now, what were the skills that they said were in high demand? They didn't. Good luck. Yes. And that is what you may experience a lot as you're looking at like, okay, is my current job transferable to a new country? Can I get a visa? People love, getting work visas is a great way to move abroad, but most of the work visas we see are for teachers. Other people, it's like a very special skill set. And usually I believe those people are recruited. So if you're not getting recruiters reaching out to you from other countries right now to get you to bring your skill set over, it's not that likely that your skill set is in high enough demand that you'll be able to move to another country on a work visa.
That's right. Okay. And then the fourth category of people that we do see getting jobs abroad are people who work for an international company and just get transferred inside of the company, right? We talked to a woman who worked for Delta Airlines and they transferred her to Italy. If you don't work for an international company already, or if you do and you don't like them people as it is, or if you're not already a teacher or you're not interested in staying a teacher, or if you don't already work for your government, or if you don't have one of those sought after skills that people are already recruiting you for, okay, don't be discouraged.
Mm-hmm.
We think that you should not be asking the question, how do you get a job abroad? But we do think there are some other questions that you should be asking that will help you get abroad. Okay, so what questions should they be asking instead of how do I find a job abroad?
The first question would be, if you're currently employed, the first question would be, if you don't hate them people, if you don't already, if the check is worth the challenges, the first question you should be asking yourself is, how can I finesse this current job into a work from anywhere situation?
Mm-hmm.
This year at Exodus Summit, we have Frances Benjamin, who's an HR executive, coming in to talk to us about how to do that. She's going to be talking about two things. One, how to take a break, how to ask your employer for a career break. So if you have a job, but you want some time off, maybe you want to come back to that job, she's going to talk about how to do that. She's also going to talk about talking to your employer about taking your job with you as you go, right?
That's right. We absolutely do not recommend that you pretend to be working in the United States while working in another country, okay? Because if your employer cares at all to find out where you really are, they will find out where you really are. Ain't no VPN that secretive that they can't tell that you're not in the United States, okay? So we don't recommend pretending to be somewhere else. Pretending to be in the US and going abroad. We recommend actually getting permission from that employer to go abroad, okay? We also recommend a second thing. The other question that you could ask is, who is really hiring remote workers? Who does not care where their employees are in the world? And how do I get a job with one of them? How do I get that job?
So at Exodus Summit this year, Libra Jones, the queen of remote work, is coming in to talk to us about how to get remote jobs. And because we hear what you need and we understand what you need, Libra Jones is coming in to do two sessions. One is more of an educational, let me walk you through some of the processes and the considerations session. And the other one is a hands-on, get on this site, type this in, and let's look for jobs together kind of session. That is going to be a bonus workshop that takes place after the summit, but it is available to anyone who buys the all access pass to the summit this year.
Yeah, so what is the summit? We keep saying the summit. Exodus Summit 2024 is an online conference for Black women interested in spending some time out of the United States of America, or out of their country, frankly, because some of our attendees are coming from the UK and Canada and the Caribbean, right? If you want to spend some time abroad, you should be at Exodus Summit 2024, because we're bringing in speakers who are going to take the obstacles in your way today and help give you some solutions to those obstacles, or help you work through those obstacles. If you think that you can't go abroad because of money, or because of your family responsibilities, because of your kids, because of healthcare, right? We come to Exodus Summit 2024, you're about to be introduced to a whole new approach to solving those problems, right? You're about to be introduced to a different pathway to life abroad than the way you think you have to go to get abroad. All right. We're talking about how to find a job abroad, or actually not how to find a job abroad, because a lot of Black women want to go abroad and they know that this is a way to go abroad, right? Finding a job in another country is a way, but there are so many other ways to get out of your country and get into a place that you want to be, place where you want to be. And we are going to introduce you to some of those things inside of Exodus Summit 2024.
The starting point for a lot of people when they're considering moving abroad is, how do I get a job abroad, like in the local economy? And 9 times out of 10, depending on the country you're going to, you're not going to want a job in the local economy. You're just not. And that's because a lot of people are choosing to move to lower cost of living locations, which generally also means the pay is going to be lower as well. I live in Mexico. My cost of living ain't that low. But the minimum wage in 2024 is $10 per day for people.
Mm-hmm.
How many multiples of the minimum wage would you need, right, to feel good about working a full day's work, which is probably not 8 hours, it's probably closer to 12 or more hours? how many minimum wages in a day would you need? Is it 12, right? And is that available for you in the market when there are people who are probably working for less, right? And you also need that work visa. You can't just come down here and work without a work visa. So you have to jump through hoops to get pay that is probably not going to make you happy, right? And that's generally the same in a lot of countries. Minimum wages, the wages are going to differ, but you really do need to, if you're going to be working in a country, generally have a work visa and jumping through all them hoops to get paid an amount that's going to make you sad isn't worth it. If you have a job in the US, take it with you. If you can get a job, or the US, Canada, UK, the islands, take that job with you if possible.
Okay, so we've dashed some hopes, but hopefully we've given you more hope in a different direction. Even though we may have closed off an option that you thought you were going to use, hopefully we've given you more options, right? Keeping the job you already have, finding remote work. Let's throw in a third and just retire, friend. Okay, maybe you might be, it might be just time to go ahead and retire. These are ways that Black women have been able to move abroad, move themselves abroad, move their families abroad so that they can live the kind of life that they want. Okay, Exodus Summit 2024 exists specifically for you. We created Exodus Summit specifically to help answer your questions and to help you get your plan together. Because look, Rashida and I, we're already out of the country. Okay, we put this together so that you can do the same thing.
If you're new to Exodus Summit, I want to let you know this is our 5th year running the summit. 5 years. We've had so many success stories in Exodus Summit of women who have attended and then have done something they never imagined before, whether that was moving abroad forever, moving abroad for a short time, taking career breaks, bopping around the globe to explore a number of countries that they never thought they'd get to see. And you can hear about these women and more in our community.
The Exodus Summit community is 18,000 Black women strong. We have 18,000 Black women already inside of the Exodus Summit community who are either in process, right, or making progress towards their time abroad, or who are just out in the world living all over the world. There's no place, there's no country in the world that you can step your foot in and not say, hey, I'm here, and meet up with some women from Exodus Summit. It's an amazing thing that Rashida and I are so proud of, and we are inviting you. This is us warmly inviting you to become a member of our community. You can do that by joining the Exodus Summit community. The link will be in the description of this video, of course, but also come to Exodus Summit, because inside of Exodus Summit, even though it's online, you're going to be able to meet the other women who have something in common with you, right? Who are maybe looking for a specific pathway abroad. And you'll be able to form community with them, and you'll be able to become like accountability buddies with them and make progress with them. We see it every year. Women group together based on whatever they choose and make progress together that they never would have been able to make alone. So we're talking about getting a job in another country in this video. And Rashida mentioned work visas. If the word work visa stirred up some feelings in you and you're like, oh, I didn't even think about this being a thing that I was going to have to navigate, don't worry. Rashida is teaching a session in Exodus Summit 2024 on how to legally move to another country, how to stay there legally. If you aren't yet familiar with the difference between getting a visa and getting citizenship and getting residency, Rashida's going to work through all of those things for you in the summit, because we don't want you to feel like this is going to be too hard of a thing to figure out. Come to Exodus Summit. Let Rashida explain some things to you so that you don't have to have this monster in your head telling you that something is so much harder than it really is. There are some countries that are opening their doors to people, even if it's not for work purposes, just for living purposes. And Rashida's going to break down some visa options for you inside the summit.
One of the reasons we work is money. Like, I don't know if y'all are working for any other reason but money, but that's the main reason a lot of us work. And the main reason a lot of us want money is because bills. Right. And for a number of us, the main bill is housing. Well, There's a cheat code. There's a cheat code to being able to live abroad long term and pay less for housing, and that is house sitting. And our illustrious leader, Stephanie Perry, is coming in to talk to you about house sitting. House sitting is a way that you can stay abroad, stay in other people's homes, which is significantly less scary than it might sound at first, and not pay for housing, right? Be able to stay in a country for 3 months, for 2 months, for 1 month, a country, maybe a really expensive city, and not pay to stay there at all. So house sitting is a way that you may be able to make less money than you made before, or if you're approaching retirement, make no money, like quit your job and retire and not worry about a lot of the expenses that most of us have to worry about.
That's right. That's right. I think at Exodus Summit 2024, we have you covered. You came to this video thinking that you needed one specific thing to be able to get abroad. And we're telling you there are many, many more options and choices and possibilities for you. Let's open up those possibilities, okay, at Exodus Summit 2024. The link is exodussummit.com. Of course, we've linked in the description. One more thing, we don't want to confuse you and we don't want you to feel, too overwhelmed with all of this. Some of you are kind of new to this whole concept, okay? But one more thing we want to point you to is our quiz called Which Country Should I Move To? Because now that you know that you may not necessarily need a job in another country to move into another country, you may now have more options in terms of what countries you want to live in.
The quiz is available at exodussummit.com/quiz, and it is intended to give you a starting place of where to start your city search.
Of course, the link to the quiz is in the description of this video, along with the link to Exodus Summit 2024. We hope we will see you there. Thanks so much for watching this video. Before you go, hit the like button, okay? Hit the like button for our glowing skin, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Compliments. And then share this video with a Black woman you know who might like to take a break from the United States or from her country, who might like to be abroad for a little while.
Yes. And we will see you October 11th through 14th at Exodus Summit, all online.
Yes.
All right. Bye.
If you've never heard of Exodus Summit,